A country can only ever prosper with the right population. But what happens when the country's population stagnates thanks to increasing death rates and decreasing immigration rates? Well, there's one country that this paradox is happening in, and that's the reality of Canada. Canada is struggling to increase its population because of the upward trend of its death rate and the downward trend of its birth rate. Canada has been awarded the maximum number of points in terms of economic and political stability and security by the US News and World Report. And the United Nations claims that Canada is 13th on the Human Development Index. Additionally, US News also places Canada as 5th on the best countries for women to live in, 4th on the best country for raising kids in list, and 2nd on the best countries for education list. With all these merits and awards, why does Canada falter behind in terms of population growth? Now, before we get into that and I show you guys all the data, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Every single week, I'm coming up with new information, new data based on your guys' feedback and comments on my past videos. Somebody left a comment on one of my past videos saying, why is nobody talking about the death rates in Canada and the population decline? Me and my team went, looked at the data, and we were just as surprised as that guy was why nobody was talking about this, and that's why we're here making this video. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, let's get into it. While the rest of the world is seeing a decrease in the death rate, Canada is seeing the opposite direction, and they're actually seeing a death rate rise. The world death rate went from having a death rate of 12.28 deaths per thousand people 50 years ago in 1972 to having 7.678 deaths per thousand people in 2022. On the contrary, Canada had a death rate of 7.293 in 1972, but currently has a death rate of 7.894 in 2022. In the analysis of the 2020 mortality data of Canada, among the 307,000 Canadians who died that year, 80,000 died from cancer, 53,000 died from heart disease, and this has been consistent with the data of other years as these two groups of diseases have always been on the forefront when it comes to the mortality of Canadians. But interestingly, despite one of the best countries in terms of security, trailing behind these diseases are accidents, the third leading cause of death in Canada. While the leading causes of death in Canada is not a surprise, it's still surprising to see the death rate of a well-developed country be on an increase for over 50 years. In a survey done by Angus Reid, 2 out of 5 Canadians claim that they were unable to access essential healthcare services timely, and that their confidence with Canadian healthcare is lower than the average American confidence with the healthcare sector. Which says a lot because there's been a lot of press about American healthcare and how much of a mess it's been. These survey results aren't baseless though, as there has been a surge in terms of reports of emergency department closures, backlogs for surgeries, long wait times, and hospitals bleeding their staff. While healthcare was almost a non-issue then, experts claim that there was always holes in the healthcare system and that the COVID-19 pandemic finally revealed the cracks in the system to the public. In the same research, 31% of the surveyed population had experienced challenges with the healthcare system, and 29% of people were experiencing chronic difficulty with the Canadian healthcare system. The research also revealed that if the numbers found in the research were applied to the broader population of Canada, up to 18.7 million Canadians could be experiencing difficulties accessing healthcare. In addition to that, the confidence of Canadians in their healthcare system has plummeted to only 37%. So only 37% of Canadians were confident enough that they could access urgent care. The increasing death rate of Canadians is already an eye-opener, but to partner this with the global birth rate decrease is even scarier, as Canada is no exception from the norm. The global birth rate 50 years ago in 1972 was at 32 per 1,000 people. Currently, the global birth rate is at 17.5 per 1,000 people, almost half than it was half a century ago. Canada already had a relatively low birth rate even then, having a birth rate in 1972 of 16, while the global birth rate back then was 32. Today, Canada has an even lower birth rate of 10 per 1,000 people. And according to UN projections, Canada will dip into the single-digit territory in 2025 and will most likely stagnate at that rate. It is to note, though, that this is something the entire world is facing, and reasons include women's empowerment in education and the workforce, lower child mortality, and an increased cost of raising children. The increasing death rate and decreasing birth rate would be more acceptable if Canada retained its high immigration rates to sustain their population. But sadly, they aren't. Because of Canada's strong economic stability and high quality of life and education, Canada has always been a country many people have wanted to immigrate to. And while Canada is still seeing strong numbers in terms of immigration, with around 300,000 immigrants moving to Canada annually, this number has faltered throughout the years. From 1995 to 2000, there was an increase of 13% of immigrants. From 2005 to 2010, there was an increase of 15%. And then from 2015 to 2020, there was only an increase of 12%. While the raw numbers are still strong, there's an obvious decline of the immigration rates in Canada. This is supported by the fact that the Canadian government is actively looking for more immigrants. Sean Fraser, Canada's Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, told the news this: "Look folks, it's simple, Canada needs more people." And he's not wrong. In fact, Canada has set a goal to bring 1.45 million immigrants to Canada by 2025 to mainly help plug labor shortages. This would mean that Canada must bring in at least 465,000 people in 2023 and 500,000 people in 2025. While Canada still remains a strong destination immigrants aim for, the decreasing rates of immigrants is mostly attributed to other countries becoming as desirable as Canada to move into, if not more. Canada has always attracted immigrants to offset the low birth rates, increasing death rates, and the aging population of the country. But when even the solution is faltering, this could spell a problem for the Canadian population. What Canada currently faces is a unique situation that not many other countries face. Despite being a well-developed country, Canada is facing population issues that could eventually hurt the working force, which would then affect the economy. The combination of increasing death rates and decreasing immigration rates, especially for a country heavily reliant on immigrants, it's a serious matter that the government should swiftly act on. Even if they need to establish new policies in healthcare to better respond to health crisis, and new policies in immigration and citizenship to attract and welcome more immigrants to live in the country. So, with all that being said, what should you do about it? In my opinion, if I were looking to invest in Canada, knowing this information, I might think a little bit more in depth of Canada's population as a whole. Because if I were going to invest in a country, right, or in a state or in a city, and that city had a decreasing population, or the growth of that city or state or country has a decreasing population, and then the prime minister of that city, state, country, Trudeau, wants to build millions and millions of more homes. What happens when you want to double the supply of houses, triple the supply of houses, but you don't have the population to keep up? And people don't want to immigrate there anymore because there's taxes on buying houses as an immigrant. It doesn't make any sense. So I would really be careful, because as Canada is going through this real estate bubble that they're going through right now, they tried to throw more logs in the fire by building more houses, not letting people move to the country, taxing people for moving to the country. It's just going to make the situation worse and worse and worse. So I would really double check and think hard if I wanted to invest in that kind of city, state, country, whatever it is. If Trudeau wants to build millions of more homes, but the immigration rate and population rate are slowing down, then what is going to happen in 20 to 30 years? Before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so you can watch new content every single week about Canada, Canadians' real estate market, Canadians' real estate bubble, and then also American real estate. What are the best places and cities to invest here in America? Thanks so much. See you on the next one.